Multiband compression, dynamic EQ, what is the difference? Let's go and find out. Hey guys, Chris here from mixdown.online. I hope you're doing good. So let me explain to you the difference between a multiband compressor and a dynamic EQ. First of all, to show you how it looks like, I'm going to open the multiband compressor out of Cubase. So this is actually a stock plugin included in Cubase. There's probably a multiband compressor included in another DAW. If that's your case, lucky you, and let me know in the comments, by the way. So first, what does a multiband compressor do? Basically, it actually splits the signal into different bands using a crossover filter. So this way you can actually apply some compression directly on these selected bands. So in this case, the Cubase multiband compressor plugin actually divides the signal into 4 different bands, which are right here. So you can actually decide which frequency you want these bands to work on. Okay, so for example, I can manage the first band, the lower part of the spectrum here by only dragging this selection right here. Okay, by dragging it left and right, you'll be able to select the frequency you want it to cover. So in this case, right now, the first band is going to be for the frequency 0 to 225 hertz, 235 hertz. Sorry. Then the second band will work on the 235 hertz to around 2.5K. There you go. So basically, what that's going to do is it's going to compress only the frequencies included in this band. So right now, I have it set up on my stereo bus. So let's go and have a listen. Okay, so right now there's actually nothing, so the compressor is not reacting whatsoever. So let's work on this second band, okay? Now I am gonna overdo it just for you to hear the effect. Now the cool thing, you can actually solo the band, so you can listen and monitor the exact frequencies you're working on. So this is pretty practical. So this is what it actually does. A lot of mastering engineers tend to work with multiband compressors. You can actually use this on your stereo bus, on any kind of instrument bus. You can use the multiband compressor. So the advantage is to be able to control, to have more control over these specific bands. So by compressing the bands that are problematic, you will have way more control in your mix and your dynamics. So the multiband compressor can actually be a very good use. So personally, to be honest with you, I don't tend to use the multiband compressor a lot. I'd rather just use the dynamic EQ, which I like a lot. So this is basically it for the multiband compressor. So if you're going to use this, I would suggest you to be gentle. Don't overdo it, just to avoid getting some phase artifacts and stuff if you overdo it. So you can easily destroy a mix with multiband compression. And if you're gentle enough, you can actually get some very good result with a multiband compression. So there you go, guys. This is it for the multiband compression. Now let's go and take a look at the dynamic EQ. Okay, so now let's go and look at our vocal track. So this is where I actually worked with the dynamic EQ. Now the one I'm using is a free plugin from Nova, which is called the Tdr Nova, okay, which is a dynamic EQ. Now the main difference between the dynamic EQ and the multiband compressor is that the dynamic EQ will not split your signal into different bands using crossover filters. Instead, all the filters on the actual EQ has a compressor assigned to it. So this way, it gives you a lot of control and flexibility on working on specific band of frequencies. Now, for example, on this mix, I use the dynamic EQ on the lead vocal just to control the 3K area, which was a bit aggressive in general on the verse, but especially when the singer was singing the word feeling. So at that point, that band of frequencies were going out of control. So by adding that dynamic EQ, it helped me to control the 3K area. So I'll have you listen to that part and just pay attention to the word feeling. And by the way, I'm bypassing the dynamic EQ. So now you can hear that the 3K frequency was kind of out of control at that point. Now let's listen to the same thing and add our dynamic EQ here. Hopefully you guys heard the difference. Now, this is why I love working with dynamic EQs, just for the fact that it helps you to control the frequency, the band of frequencies you're working on, instead of just cutting the frequencies out. You just get more control and more flexibility. So what I usually do is I usually work with regular EQs in my vocal chain when I start mixing. Then if I need to, so if I get into a situation where I have frequencies that gives me a lot of trouble, I am going to use a dynamic EQ like in this case. You can actually use that on several other tracks, like a cymbal track, for example, overheads. For example, if you have like a drummer that hits the cymbals pretty hard during a chorus, for example, you can actually set your dynamic EQ on and control the dynamics of these frequencies. So once your signal reaches the threshold you set it up to, it's just going to attenuate and compress these frequencies that you chose to fix. So that's basically it. Again, you can use that on your stereo bus, on your instrument bus, and stuff like that. In mastering, this is very useful in mastering. In my opinion, between a multiband compressor and a dynamic EQ, I think you have way more control with the dynamic EQ. In my opinion, that is only me. Actually, you know what? Let me know in the comments if you're used to work with a dynamic EQ or a multiband compressor. Let me know your experience with these tools, if any. And don't forget to let me know as well if you have if you're not using Cubase anyways, if you have a multiband compressor or a dynamic EQ within your DAW. Now, if you want to get this one, I'm going to leave the link in the description. It's called, again, the Tdr Nova, which is free and works pretty well. And another cool thing with that plugin is that you have a dry mix knob, so you can actually parallel compress your signal. So you can be more aggressive like I'm doing right now. I'm a bit more aggressive, but there's some dry signal coming in at the same time. So it's kind of a parallel dynamic EQing stuff. And there's other plugins that you can work with, like for example, Gliss EQ from Voxengo, which is a paid plugin though. But I worked with this plugin for several years. Very nice plugin. Again, does the same thing. It compresses the frequency, the band of frequencies you manually select. So on top of compressing a band of frequencies, you can actually expand it if you want to. So you just do the opposite. So you just boost the frequency band you want to expand. And there you go. So it does the complete opposite. So this is very practical in a mix. So if needed, you can boost or expand a certain band of frequency. So basically, if you need to work on a large band of frequencies, you just work with the multiband compressor. And if you need to work on a specific band of frequencies, have more control over the frequency you want to work on, you go with a dynamic EQ. All right, guys. So this is it for this week. I hope that helps. Please share, and don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below or directly on my website at mixdown.online. You can subscribe to the mailing list and get access to all the free stuff I have for you. All right, guys, see you soon.